My name's Hanson, and I'm a professor and extension specialist in the horticulture department at Michigan State University. So I work primarily with berries, and I want to talk to you about a research project here involving high tunnels. So one of the important aspects of managing high tunnels is temperature manipulation. So the temperatures in these high tunnels will be higher than ambient, higher than outside during the peak of the day, and then they cool down to about ambient temperatures by morning. Raspberries, as we have here, don't prefer real hot temperatures. So during the summer, our maximum daily temperatures are much higher than what raspberries would prefer. So one of the goals is to try to cool tunnels during the heat of the day. The most important tool in that regard is venting. So these tunnels are made to where you can push the plastic up on the hoops on the side and allow more air movement into the tunnels. What we find is that that will reduce the maximum temperature somewhat, but it won't get them down to ambient temperatures. The second thing that we've been looking at a little bit this year is the use of either black or silver shade cloth placed over the top of the tunnels. So we did this in a couple of tunnels. What we found with both of those materials is that the shade cloth would reduce maximum daily temperatures, but they don't really get it back down to ambient temperatures. So they seem to do what we'd like them to do, but they don't get temperatures down to that which is outside. Another way of manipulating temperatures is by the time we get into the fall, September and October, and this is early October, we often want to capture heat in tunnels. So at this time of day, or this time of season, we'll keep the sides of the tunnels down so that we're minimizing venting, and we're also able to close the ends of the tunnels to trap more heat during the day and try to maintain higher temperatures during the early part of the nighttime. Another aspect of tunnel management is drainage. So we're very lucky here to have a nice loamy sand soil that takes water quickly. But if you have an inch of rain during the summer, it comes in a thunderstorm, in these 26-foot wide tunnels, we get the equivalent of 26-inch rain falling in between adjacent bays. So to move all that water out of the area quickly, we found we needed to install underground tile systems along the leg rows. Those are covered with pea gravel to make sure that the water gets down to the drain tile and moves out of the system adequately. So we were needing to do that in this site. If you were putting tunnels up on a heavier high clay soil where percolation rates are slower, you'd probably have to make even more accommodations to make sure that you can get that excess of water out of the tunnel system. Another aspect, and something that we're actually studying here, is plant nutrition. How to supply adequate nutrition to these plants through the growing season, and irrigation management. So in organic culture, there aren't many soluble materials that you can inject directly through your trickle irrigation system. So we need to think about ways of fertilizing plants early in the season that's going to maintain adequate levels of nutrition available to the plants through a long period of time, so that if you put your fertilizer on in April or May, there's still adequate nutrition available to the plants here in early or mid-October. So it's a long period of time, and that's one thing that we're trying to get a better handle on. The other aspect is irrigation scheduling. So if you put nutrient sources on the soil early in the season and you're over irrigating, you can imagine that you're leaching a lot of that nutrition down below the root zone and out of reach of the plants. So doing a good job of supplying adequate water without excessive amounts of water is very important from a water management standpoint, but also from a nutrition management standpoint. So we hope to get a better feel for how all this works in the future. In these tunnels, we've been irrigating plants with a single trickle irrigation line. We find that that's adequate. One thing we've learned about the trickle system on these sandy soils is that our wetting zone is fairly small. So we feel that it's much more important to irrigate more frequently, but for shorter durations than to irrigate for a long period of time every second day, for example. We think probably irrigation every day, and we may find more than once a day is going to be beneficial in these tunnels. Another interesting aspect of tunnels is that because it's a little hotter in tunnels, you would guess that water use by plants is going to be higher than it would be in the field. What we're suspecting here is that because the volume of airflow through these tunnels and the amount of wind that the plants are subjected to, they may actually be using not more and maybe perhaps a little bit less water than plants of the same size under field conditions, even though the temperature is a little bit warmer in these tunnels. So for harvest this year, we had a good harvest. We're still picking here in early October and hope to go into late October, although yields have declined. We have 3 varieties, a Himbo Top, Polka, and Joan Jay. They each have strengths and weaknesses, as you'd imagine. So Polka, for example, is a beautiful bright red berry. It's very susceptible to insect damage. Himbo Top, for example, is also a very bright, lighter red colored berry. We find that that one is a little bit softer than the other 2 varieties this year. And Joan Jay, again, is a wonderful berry. It's a somewhat darker color than some people would like in a red raspberry. So none of them are perfect, but we'll be testing them further in future years. Our harvest system is, of course, picking by hand. So we pick into small buckets, and the harvesters, in some cases, will separate out the inferior berries from the excellent berries that are suitable for fresh marketing. So pick into 2 different buckets, and then the good quality berries are poured into half-pint clamshell containers, and those are packed in flats, and those are how they've been sold. And we've done a pretty good job with finding some buyers of frozen raspberries this year. So harvest has gone good. We've been harvesting for the most part on a 2 to 3 day harvest interval, so quite a few times through the tunnels.